It looks
Yeah.
like the non-denominational Christianity is going to be quite a force to be reckoned with in the future. Like, I mean,
Well, yeah, sure. Because
it's really
non-denominational, what
hard.
does that mean? It means that they now no longer
Basically like
have.
the Congregationalist Puritans of the early Americas, where each church basically was kind of its own little thing.
Yeah,
And now here's the
it goes back to each
what
person is his own pope, right? Each person has
what
his own keys. So now there's
well, yeah,
billions.
what makes a non-denominational church great is also what can make it really bad is they
Mhm.
live and die by the strength of their pastors. Okay,
Yeah,
like that's and so that's why I don't know if you ever seen it. This guy, he was a Baptist, made a Venn diagram
yeah.
where the middle circle is the elect, and then he's
Mhm.
got all the different denominations of Christianity and how much are they in the elect. Now, because he was Baptist, the Catholics are barely in there at all.
Right.
They're barely touching. The Eastern Orthodox are touching a little bit more, and I'm like, that's just that old grudge against Catholicism. That's all that is. Because like I tell a
Mhm.
lot of evangelicals, like if you had to choose between Catholic or Eastern Orthodox, you'd find a lot more similarity in theology to
Yo, well,
Catholicism.
I
Like,
noticed that
well,
you mentioned like a guy who's online a lot, who's also a theologian, like in your thing, and it just reminded me
Wes
that
Huff.
yeah, huh?
Yeah, Wes Huff.
Wes Huff, yeah, Wes Huff. And one of the things I've noticed is all of these debates that you're starting to see, like among different denominations, there tends to be a lot of people discovering early church documents for the first time, and then finding a lot of things that are present in Catholicism that are mentioned in these early church documents, but are not present in a lot of like Protestant like churches. Like bishops, for instance. Like I think a lot of people are shocked to see, first and second century like reference, or at least second century, early second century references to bishops, and they're like, "Well, wait a minute, what do you mean?" And
Ignatius of Antioch was really strong about that because
yeah,
he talked about how a church should be structured. Now, this is just his opinion. And other theologians disagreed with him,
mm-hmm.
but there'd be deacons, then presbyters, and then each individual church has the bishop in the flesh.
Yeah,
And you are to be loyal to that bishop in the flesh as if the apostles or Christ himself were there. And that was, and in the early church, that was
right.
definitely necessary. And like now, there's some non-denominational churches that do structure themselves very much in that way, whether they're
Or in the Bible, right? You got First Clement,
yep,
who talks,
he shows up in Philippians chapter 4. Yep,
yeah,
Clement.
Clement, right? And so you have bishops being referenced in the Bible, and then people are going to their Baptist church, like the one that I grew up in, and going, "Oh, why don't we have bishops?" Well, because we don't.
Well,
Because it's really
technically,
the answer.
elders and bishops are kind of the same thing. I mean, they literally mean the same thing.
Yeah, but when they're the thing is, bishops organize. It's sort of like if you work for Best Buy or whatever, you've got your store manager, but then you've got your like district manager and stuff like that. By the time you get big enough to have something like a bishop, which goes over multiple churches, then you're going to start to get disagreements between all of those churches, and they're not going to want to follow what their bishop says necessarily because they're more independently minded than that. And so you just really like there's just not the room for bishops in a lot of these like
American
church structures.
individualism. Yeah,
Yeah,
that. Now, again, like to me, I view being a church
because they
elder.
don't have the keys.
We can get into that. There's a
Yeah,
lot
okay.
of different theories of apostolic succession, my
Sure.
my good friend. But